Hello and welcome. My name is Lorianne Lumbee, and this is our Authentic Freedom Academy weekly spiritual service. And I just want to thank those that are here live and those who will be joining through the archive video at a later time. And before we begin the content portion of our gathering for today, let's just take a few moments in quiet. Let's take a few moments and bring ourselves here, allow ourselves to arrive. And we'll begin that process by drawing our awareness to our breathing. Being conscious of each breath as we draw it in and as we give it release. As we draw it in and as we give it release. As we maintain that attention on our breathing, I invite you to give yourself permission to release and let go of any preoccupations, any worries, any concerns or fretfulness that might be clouding your mind. And in that letting go, creating space in which you can enter more and more fully into that place of pure awareness. That place where you are one with yourself, one with Source and Creator, one with each other, one with the world. Allowing that increased attention of presence to bring you into that place of peace, of conscious awareness, and to anchor yourself fully in that place of security, safety, and comfort within yourself. And before we begin today, just take a moment and remember that we are in a safe and sacred place, in a time dedicated to our own inner growth and transformation, in a time set aside where we can be service to ourselves and service to our world. Remembering that as we gather in this circle and as we hold that intention of safety, that this is what shall be, this is what is. I want to offer this sacred Aramaic prayer as an intention, as a container for our time together today. Avun de bashmaya netcharishmuch, te melchuta, nechwe saviana chakana de bashmaya ofbara, havlan lachman, de sun kenan yomana, washboklan, chaubein wach dehain, I kanad ofganon shrokem lachaya bain, wela tachlan lena suna, ela patza min bisha. Metu de lache makuta wa halawa tashbukta lalam alamin. Amen. I want to thank you for giving me this moment to connect with the proper energy, focus, and words for today's gathering. Because the message is challenging, difficult. For some, traumatizing. And I believe that it's critically important for the transformation that we're currently witnessing and moving through in our world. And I want to say, before I even start unfolding today's message, I just have to say trigger warning. If at some point in the sharing, as I'm unpacking this, if at any time in this process you need to tap out, please feel free to do so with no apologies or explanations necessary. This has been a really difficult week for women. Well, let's face it, it's been a really difficult 5,000 years for women. In the last few weeks especially, we have borne witness to assault against women, systems that place women in the place of blame, systems that punish women for the acts of, I'm going to say, evil men. This past week, we've been witness to the gymnastics hearings in the trial against Larry Nassar. It has been excruciatingly painful to witness the experiences of these young women who were children when their abuse began, and all the ways in which they have sought help and support and not gotten it. Systems that have ignored the cries of women in pain. Systems in which not only men are complicit, but so have been other women. There are two sides to this coin of revelation, and it's a revelation that we've been going through over and over and over the last many years. The toxic masculine can no longer hide behind the veil of patriarchy. And more and more and more, we are seeing these veils torn away and the truth revealed. And these are painful, excruciatingly painful truths, but necessary in their revelation. As we witness these revelations, I think often our first response is care and concern for the victims. The second response, or maybe even the first response, is our own woundedness relating to whatever that revelation might be. We are seeing the abuse and the persecution of women up front and personal. And for many of us, this is our abuse as well. So we cheer for the revelation of wrongdoings, but at the same time, we feel the pain of our own experiences of having been victim. And there's no shame in using that word victim. Because what else are we if we have been subject to someone else's abuse? We have all been in the position of being the truth teller and being punished for sharing that truth. I was having a conversation with a friend yesterday who was a victim of childhood sexual abuse. And the biggest trauma for her came not in the abuse itself, but in sharing that abuse with her family, for telling the family secret, for outing the perpetrator, and then being told she was crazy, she was a liar, she was creating trouble. Uncle so-and-so would never do that, but he had, and he did. The trauma that this young woman still is suffering is less about the abuse itself and more about being punished for telling the truth. The pain that we are carrying as women is deep. It has many strands and many arms and is deeply woven. It's woven into the fabric of our gender. It's woven into the fabric of our history. are her story. And we wish to be a source of love and support and compassion for one another, while also consciously aware of how our own past woundings are being triggered. We feel fragile, we feel vulnerable. Or as one friend reflected today, we feel a rage that we didn't even know we felt. A rage that is so deep, so penetrating. A rage that feels so violent because of the violence that has been done to us and the violence that has been done to our sisters and our children. And we rage and we weep and we moan and we grieve. And the system is goddamn stubborn. When we think we've made a movement forward, when we think we've taken 2 steps forward, the system pulls us 1 step back. When we think we've made inroads, the system puts up another roadblock. And it goes on and on and on as we beat our head against the wall of patriarchy. And we have our sisters as support, and we have the holy men that are our advocates and our friends and our allies. And there are times we still feel alone. When we see another woman betray the sisterhood, when we hear of another man being set free for sexual abuse while the woman is being blamed as having dressed the wrong way or because she had a cocktail. It's infuriating, it's maddening, it's heartbreaking. And yet, this is the path that we have chosen. The path of advocate, the path of supporter, the path of healer, the path of death doula, the path of teacher, the path of truth teller. We are on this path because there is a fire in our womb that compels us to fight for our own sake, the sake of our sisters and our children. To fight for our brothers who are allies and who are facing their own struggle against toxic masculinity. And part of that flag bearing, sword wielding, part of that is to be a vessel to hold that pain, to hold that struggle, to bear witness to a system in its collapse, but fighting to survive. A container to hold those seeds of new life. To hold that safe space for the generation after us who will be building a new world. the generation that doesn't take any crap. So today, what I'm inviting us into is a time of sacred holding and sacred prayer. I'm inviting us to take the next 20 minutes in our own silent holding and prayer and healing for this woman wound. And in that holding, to bear witness to what is coming forth in that prayer. Knowing that by holding the pain of all women, the frustration, the anger, the grief, that in holding and bearing witness, we are creating a space in which healing, comfort, transformation, and an opening can take place. So in a moment, I'm going to end the recording and invite you to find your own space to sit in prayer for 20 minutes, set a timer if you need to. And then for those that feel so called, I will hold space for sharing in this circle and on this platform. Sharing your own frustration, your own pain, your own witness, or sharing what has come through in your prayer. And before moving into that, I just want to share our company for today. From my Kali deck, I pulled the card of Guya Kali. Guya Kali is pictured with the skulls and her weapons. Her fierce arms of severance, and she is the one that works in the shadows. She works in the places where people are afraid to go, into the deepest pain, the deepest conflict, the deepest tragedy and trauma. She invites us to enter into that pain that it might be transformed, and promises that in diving into the depths, that she is with us, that she is holding our hand, that she is guiding our work, and that in that work, she is keeping us safe. So let us welcome her presence and enter into this 20-minute period of offering and prayer. Thank you.